This is one of the absolute best firearms I own, and I owned quite a few before the big boating accident. But I'm so glad I was able to retrieve this one because out of all the guns I owned, none were more compact, more reliable, lighter weight, more ergonomic, with superior accuracy, and with really great accessories than the Brugger and Thomet TP9. This is one of the greatest firearms of all time, period. I'm so excited to finally be bringing this video to you on one of my absolute favorite guns of all time. You see, this video has literally been years in the making. This gun has been kind of a project for me that I've slowly added to for many years, and now I feel like I finally have finished it and achieved the greatness that I had always known it was capable of. B&T has been in the States now for several years, but back before they came stateside, the TP9 was brought into the country by DSA, a company better known for their FALs. Mine is an old DSA import. I had it without a stock or a brace for quite a while, because there sure weren't any braces for it back then, like the awesome ones available now from Custom Smith Manufacturing, and I was quite happy with it just as a pistol. Then when I decided to get involved in NFA items, one of the very first SBRs I applied for was the Brugger and Thomet TP9, and this is an awesome SBR. Then another year or two went by and I finally got the TP9 suppressor from the good guys at Shooting Surplus. I'm not exactly sure how many years it's taken me to get to this point, and I've enjoyed this gun in each of its phases over the years. But now that it's complete with the stock, the suppressor, and some top-notch accessories from Custom Smith Manufacturing, this is easily one of the coolest guns in my collection and just one of the coolest guns ever made. One of the most amazing things about this gun is its size. It's really small. Best truck gun ever conceived? Here it is. At just over 3 pounds and with the stock folded measuring under 1 foot, there's not much smaller. Let me say that again to let it sink in. It weighs 3 pounds 1.5 ounces and it's just under a foot in length. I guess it falls into the subgun category, but that's not really fair. This is so much smaller than any other subgun available. It's almost something completely new, kind of between a subgun and a pistol. A few guns have tried this before, like the Uzi Micro or the Uzi Pro. Both really cool guns, but made of steel and heavy. The mostly polymer TP9 is extremely light. In fact, the only gun that I imagine would come close to the amazing feel of the TP9 is the HK MP7, but sadly those guns aren't available to civilians in the States. I'm going to go ahead and say it, if you're a civilian in the US, this is as close as you can currently get to the legendary HK MP7. It was really cool of Shooting Surplus to send out a modern TP9, so I can show you how they come now, since there has been some minor improvements over the years since my ancient one was made. Also, this will let you see a real SBR versus a brace model using a Gearhead Works tailhook adapter made by Custom Smith Manufacturing. This will also allow us to see a stock gun versus some of the upgrades that I have on mine made by Custom Smith Manufacturing. If you've never heard of them, they're a very innovative company filling a void in the market, making accessories for guns that don't have a lot of aftermarket support, like the Brugger and Thomet lineup. They make some really cool stuff and you should check them out. The TP9 is fed from magazines through the grip like a pistol, which greatly helps contribute to the small size. Magazines are also available in 30 round, 20 round, and a flush fit 15 round magazine. Custom Smith also makes a plus 5 round extension for when you're needing a little extra freedom. On the grip, you'll also see 2 of the big improvements on the newer TP9s. The safety is now a switch, somewhat like an AR-15, which is a huge improvement over the cross-block safety on my older model. The magazine release is in much the same spot you would find it in on any pistol and works from both sides on the newer model. My older one is for righties only, which I am, so that works for me. The grip is also contoured nicely, and while it may not look too impressive, it is actually very comfortable and feels great in the hand. There's also a bolt release, again in much the same spot you would find a slide release on most pistols. To charge the weapon, you use a charging handle in the back very reminiscent of an AR-15, and this is one of the areas I've upgraded on my TP9. Mine is equipped with the Falcon charging handle from Custom Smith. This gives you a much larger area to grab and charge the weapon. Works much better than the stock version and reminds you of a very good extended charging handle for an AR-15. If you pick up a TP9, this would be my top recommended accessory. Up top, you'll have a ghost ring sight and a full-length rail to attach any type red dot you would like. There's also a pick rail on the right side to attach lasers, flashlights, IR lasers, or anything else you feel you need strapped to the side of your gun. Up front underneath, you'll have a nice little hand stop to protect those digits, and Brugger and Thomet is now leaving a cavity where the forward grip is supposed to go. This has been a big deal for TP9 owners for a long time. Older models like mine had it completely removed, and it was nearly impossible to get a grip once you SBR'd your gun that was at the perfect angle, because the forward grip does feel really good and perfectly aligns with the stock when folded. This was so when you drew the gun, and oh yes, there are holsters, you could immediately fire by just reaching your hand around both the forward grip and the stock at the same time, get some shots on target before deploying the stock. Anyway, now B&T ships it with a spot for the grip if you decide to go the SBR route. If you don't, Custom Smith has you covered, with angled foregrips or pick rail sections that will fit into the plug. He has also managed to make a perfect replica of the forward grip that is compatible with older models like mine, and this is another huge part that makes this gun so perfect to me, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without Custom Smith. It aligns perfectly with the stock and is really perfect in every single way to the original. The trigger has always been a little bit of a rough spot for the TP9, but I will say that this newer model has a much better pull than my older one. Also, the trigger has a perfectly straight pull and is not a hinge design like most triggers. I'm going to give trigger weights, and I almost didn't because these weights sound high, but I can't emphasize enough that they don't feel as high as they'll sound because of the completely straight pull. My older model used to have a pull of about 12 pounds. The newer one that Shooting Surplus sent out is pulling at about 10 pounds, and it is a good deal smoother than my old one. Now my personal gun has the Custom Smith flat trigger, and this has greatly improved my trigger pull to about 9 pounds. It is very consistent, crisp, and a huge improvement over what it was. Now I'm estimating this trigger took about 3 pounds off my overall weight, and it improved the feel greatly. Would it make that same improvement on a newer model, bringing it down to about 7 pounds? Well, I can't really be sure, but it would be an improvement, and this is another really worthwhile upgrade. Like I said, mine is an SBR, and this is the stock as it was designed. It is a slim, slick stock that quickly deploys and when folded locks into the takedown notch. It works extremely well and is far more comfortable than it looks. I love this setup, and this is easily one of my favorite SBRs. But I know a bunch of people are scared to go down that road, and it's okay. You get used to the black helicopters following you around all the time, and after the first couple of weeks, you hardly even notice them. Well, Custom Smith Manufacturing makes an adapter that fits into the gun and folds just like the real stock and works with the Gearhead Works tail hook. This thing is pretty sweet, and if you don't want to do the whole SBR thing, I would say that this is a must-have. The Brugger and Thommet TP9 is rather unique mechanically. It has a rotating barrel that allows for greater reliability throughout a wide range of loads, from ultralight 115 grain all the way up to some pretty heavy subsonic. Anything you put in this thing, it will run it. I've shot this thing for years, and it has always been amazingly reliable. That rotating barrel should also help with the extremely pleasant recoil impulse. Another thing that's interesting is the part that sticks out of the front is actually not the barrel, it's a shroud to attach the suppressor to. It is fixed and does not rotate with the barrel. How does the TP9 suppress? Extremely well. It is very quiet and we had 100% function with every subsonic ammo load we tried. However, there are a few hurdles to jump through to get there. First off, the barrel has a proprietary 3-lug attachment device that at least currently no other suppressor company supports other than B&T. To complete one of the coolest packages in firearms, I turned to Shooting Surplus to get the B&T TP9 suppressor. This thing is amazingly quiet. It's super wide at 2 inches, but only about 7 inches long. That extra width allows the can to have massive internal volume, making for an extremely quiet suppressor without adding too much length to this nice compact package.
Bro, all you hear is the action of the gun.
That is so quiet.
That is ridiculous.
Until somewhat recently, the suppressor was a one-trick pony and only worked on the TP9. However, B&T has come up with this adapter allowing it to work on standard 3-lug guns like the B&T APC9, GHM9, along with the HK MP5, or in this case, the Zenith Z5RS. While that's not a ton of other platforms, it is many more than just the original one, and does give this awesome can a little more versatility. Hopefully, as the TP9 continues to grow in popularity, more mainstream suppressor companies will get on board, and I'd love to see my Dead Air Wolf on this thing. This is the second suppressor from Brugger and Thomet I've had the opportunity to use, and I have been really impressed. Usually B&T suppressors are a little hard to come by, but wouldn't you know it that Shooting Surplus carries their lineup, and if you want to check them out, you can get them there. In my eyes, this is one of the greatest firearms ever devised. The small size and lightweight without sacrificing anything for it. It's shockingly accurate, reliable, and ergonomic. Everyone's always talking about the best truck gun, and I couldn't imagine anything better than the Brugger and Thomet TP9. It will also excel anytime you want something really light and compact. It's one of those guns I couldn't recommend any higher. If this is something that interests you and you decide to get it, I promise it will always be a pinnacle piece in your collection, something you always show your buddies when they come over, and something that everyone always wants to shoot at the range. I've had mine literally for years. There's no telling how many rounds have been through it, and it is still holding up great, with no signs of slowing down anytime soon. And that's a good thing because I plan on shooting this for years to come. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Guys, if you want to know where I get most of my crazy cool guns that are straight up unobtainium, I get them from Shooting Surplus. Whether it's Brugger and Thomet, Q, Noveski, STI, Agency, the names just go on and on. They've got it. You can get it. Use the code AA5 to save some cash. Helps out the channel at the same time, and you get the gear that you want. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. It really helps us out a lot. And hit the bell so YouTube may let you know next time we have a new video. If you guys want to know what's currently being reviewed way before it hits the YouTube channel, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. There you can see what is in the pipeline. If you want to help support Alabama Arsenal because you like what we do here, the best possible way to do that is on Patreon. These videos can get a little expensive to make, and every little bit helps and is greatly appreciated. If you want to get some gear to go out and represent, there's shirts and hoodies available right below the video. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.